All right, so good morning. And we are going to start lying on the block with the block under the sacrum. I think we'll have kind of a low to the floor class today. We've been having lots of up in the air lately. All right, here we are, down on the floor. With your block or just lying flat, that will work as well. Taking a few moments, arriving here on your mat. And letting your body sink into the floor, letting go of all those things you don't need for the next hour or so. Letting your breath slow down and deepen. And then you didn't get there already, the block under the sacrum, sliding the legs out, and be giving a push with the hands on the face of the block near your waist, getting some traction there. You can start out a little more easeful, just inhaling up into the lower belly. And exhale, pouring off the block. And then a little bit of cooperating with the block. Making those legs parallel right together or a little bit apart, flexing the feet, reaching through the heels, pulling up through the abdominal muscles. Bringing the arms alongside with the palms down. A little bit of roll out of the upper arms. A little bit more lift of the upper chest toward the chin. And just engaging with the shape the block is putting you into, a supported straight leg bridge pose. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And stretching the arms up overhead, long and flat. And then inhale and exhale, reaching through the fingertips, pressing the arms back down alongside. And let's do that 3 or 4 more times. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then we will finish with that, bending the knees, Lifting up off the block, rolling down, landing on the floor. And then coming up to sitting. And sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. Giving a little lift from behind. Space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And then letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, finding that balance of effort and ease in the spine. And let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing those arms up. And breathing the arms down. Let's do that twice more. And then twisting to the right. I'm being the mirror right now. Inhale, lots of space. Exhale and twist. Every breath a subtle action through the body. And back to the center, twisting to the left. Inhaling and exhaling. And back to the center. And remembering which leg is in front. It's actually going to be a while that we'll have to remember, but hopefully we can do it. As we extend the legs straight out in front, we're going to be rolling down to the floor, so make sure you have enough room behind you. And reaching long through the heels, doing your best to lengthen and flatten the backs of the legs along the floor, coming forward and over. Inhale and exhale. And then we will roll down to the floor, pulling back in those abdominal muscles, rolling slowly down, 4 or 5 breaths to get down there on the floor. Here we are again. And let's Supta Baddha Konasana this time. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Leveling the pelvis there on the floor. And if you're like me, you have to work not to let that belly pop up in the lower back hyperextend. A little drawing up through the abdominal muscles, making a nice flat plane from the 2 hip bones and the pubic bone there. Inhaling and exhaling. So Once again, we're gently engaging and cooperating with the shape we're in. It could be almost 100% passive here, but engaging a little. And then if your hips tend to tilt one way or the other, or the pelvis tends to tilt forward, maybe a little more active engagement to find that level pelvis on the back of the floor. Feel the back of the pelvis on the floor. And let's interlock the fingers, turning the palms up to the ceiling, stretching the arms up overhead, two long parallel sides, almost like you're sitting on the opposite wall. And release the hands. And then we'll bring those legs up to floating Baddha Konasana, the tips of the big toes together as we pull out through the knees. And you can hold on to the ankles or shins or wherever works. Inhale and exhale. And you might end up with a little rolling up of the pelvis to get here. But still trying to reach through the sitting bones, thinking level pelvis on the floor, even if that's not quite there yet. And we'll straighten out the right leg. Inhale and exhale, using whatever support or encouragement you need with the right arm to help the right leg there, maybe supporting underneath. Maybe giving it a little press down from the inside. Long line from that right heel out the left knee. And as you pull the right leg back in, pull it in like it's got a stretchy band attached to the ankle, and you have to pull against that to bring that right leg in. And then we'll extend the left leg out. Inhale and exhale. As your legs might not be having the same experience here. Right leg and left leg can be different. So using the left arm to assist or deepen or encourage as needed for your left leg as we reach from the left heel out the right knee. And then very deliberately folding the left leg in, pulling that leg back in. Big toes touch, take a breath. Let's do that again. Extending the right leg out, taking approximately 6 breaths here. And folding the right leg in, and then we'll extend that left leg out. Breathing here. Every breath, that's subtle action through the body. And folding the left leg back in. So let's just take a little break on the inner thighs, pull the legs together for a moment, knees to nose. And then we'll come back out to that floating Baddha Konasana. And as you might have suspected, both legs will be going out. So maybe it's kind of an open, happy baby for you. But keep sending that breath pouring out through the inner thighs, through the backs of the legs, out the heels, using your arms as needed. Inhale and exhale, reaching the sitting bones toward the opposite wall. If your legs are all right hanging out there by themselves, maybe those interlocked fingers bringing the arms up overhead. Imagining that you're sitting on the wall. You think of the backs of the legs being against that wall as well. As you lengthen up through the spine and out the top of the head, ground the shoulder blades down the sides and out the sitting bones. And a few more breaths here. And then we'll release the hands, using those arms to help draw those legs back in. Once more, squeezing into a little ball, knees and nose. And then we'll roll like a ball if that works for you, or else you can just sort of squinge here on the floor as we take a few rolls up and down. Oh, well, we're taking more than a few. And 2 or 3 more. And then we will finish back up to sitting. And we'll see how our short-term memory test went and put the other leg in front in Sukhasana. And let's take a breathe the arms up and down, extending up and breathing down, and then coming forward and over. Inhaling and exhaling. And we'll walk our hands over to the right diagonal. So I'm back to being the mirror here. And then left hand on the right knee, twisting open, reaching up through that right arm, turning inside out. And then we'll reach that right arm over the ear, a little side bending, reaching forwardish. Maybe reach around with that right arm down through the center over to the left diagonal. Breathing here. And right hand on the left knee, twisting open, pouring up the front of the left shoulder and out the fingertips. And then reaching that left arm over the ear with a little side bending action. And a big swoop around with that left arm coming back to the center. And then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae, landing back up onto the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And let's come up in downward facing dog. Mukha Svanasana. Walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finishing with whatever you're doing, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. And lengthening forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling. Inhales a little forward through the top of the head. Exhale, shoulder blades to the sitting bones, out the heels. And then setting the knees down on all fours. And a couple cats and cows. Moving through every vertebrae. Maybe with a little forward and back movement, or whatever else you want. And then we will finish with this. So we're going to Asta Namaskar, knees, chest, chin to the floor, or any other means. All right, really big cow back, pulling the hinge of the hips back. And even as we start pulling forward, the hips don't come forward. They keep resisting and pulling back and up as we lower the upper chest down, and then sliding up to the small cobra. Really squeeze the elbows in, shoulders down and back, reaching through the feet, holding here. And 4, 3, 2, 1 more breath. Calming down. And let's bring the arms forward into the Sphinx. Elbows under the shoulders, reaching out through those fingertips. And a pull back. And a reach back with the legs wide across the upper back and the collarbones. Breathing here. Bridge posing into the floor, bend the knees. I'm feeling the upper back, doing a little press back toward the heels. Don't let that tailbone come up. Press the tailbone down a little more. Pull a little more in and up with the abdominal muscles. And then extend the legs back. Maybe that upper body has a little bit more lift and the elbows will come up or lighten. And coming down to the floor, taking a deep breath. And let's peel ourselves up. Maybe another little cat-cow ripple into child's pose. And then coming up onto our knees, and we'll Ustrasana, the camel pose. Let's bring the hands behind or holding on to the side, encouraging that pelvis to go down and forward a little as we go up and over. Whatever your Ustrasana is at this moment, don't force it to be bigger than it is. And very similar to shape to when we were just lying on the floor, bending our knees. You feel in the back of the body engage a little more as you think about that. And lengthening up. And maybe another cat and cow on our way back up to downward facing dog. And then here we are. Let's go through a vinyasa smoothly, any version, plank, chaturanga, or kneeling chaturanga, upward facing dog. So you can be doing any version. I'm just saying the basics here. And downward facing dog. And let's look between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Lengthen out a little more, pouring over. Deep breath. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Resting the arms down. Let's come all the way around to Namaste in front. And we will do the tree pose, Vrikshasana. So we'll bring the right leg up. If you want to move somewhere, hold on, go ahead. So I'm not being the mirror here. As we bring our right leg up. Foot standing on the inner thigh, and there we are, like when we were lying on the floor, back of the pelvis flat and wide against the floor, reaching out through that right inner thigh through the knee. And of course, our left leg is not going to the side, but there's still that reach down through the left foot into the floor. So a little connection pulling out from the right knee and the left foot into the floor. And breathing here. And then we'll bring the right leg down, and we'll bring the left leg up. Bringing that left leg up. And a namaste between the right inner thigh and left foot. Reaching out through that left thigh, reaching down through the right heel. Feeling wide and flat across the back of the pelvis there. We don't want to twist ourselves trying to put that left knee at a further side angle than it can go. And breathing here. And then we'll bring that left leg down. Deep breath here at the front of the mat. And coming over. Swooping those arms up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Let's step back with the left leg. So we're in our right lunge. Lengthening that out and then bringing the left knee down, coming up in Jayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then bringing the arms around to do the interlocked fingers. Roll the shoulders out, lift the chest to lift the chin. And release the hands back up overhead. Namaste in front. And namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up. Reaching long through that right heel, reaching down through the left heel, stretching between both legs. Through to the lunge. And this time we'll come up in either the high lunge or the warrior one. And let's do the eagle pose, arms in front, right arm crossing under. And release the arms, stepping forward. Concave back, halfway up. Folding over, taking a breath. Coming up to standing, big front body. Pressing the arms down all the way around to Namaste. Let's tree pose again. Let's do the left leg first this time. Bring that left leg up. Feeling that reach from the knee and the foot. Wide level pelvis and breathing here. And bringing that left foot down. Deep breath. And tree pose on the right side. Feeling all those subtle actions in the body there. And breathing. And we'll bring that right leg down. And here we are at the front of the mat. Big front body yawn. And come over. Concave back, folding over, stepping back with the right leg. And then bringing that right knee down and Jayasana. And we'll interlock the fingers behind, lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And releasing the arms up overhead. Namaste in front, into the floor. Stepping back, Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And we'll lift our left leg up. Big pull between both legs. And through to the lunge. Coming up in the high lunge or the warrior. And eagle pose, arms, left arm under. And release the arms, stepping forward into the concave back, folding over. And this time we'll jump or step back through the vinyasa. And downward facing dog. And let's come forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling. And then we'll bend the knees, keeping those shins hovering just above the floor. We have to pull back in the hips to get that all fours flat back position. So it's not just a bent knee, downward facing dog. And then we'll do a couple cats and cows. One option is to do them here with the knees suspended or setting the knees down. And we arch up and lengthen out. And let's just do one or two more, especially if the knees are suspended. And then here we are, all our knees are on the floor. We'll Asta Namaskar to the Cobra again. And then once we're in that small Cobra, getting that situated, and we'll hold there, reaching back through the legs. And 3 more breaths here in this Cobra. And coming down, resting the forehead on the hands for a moment. And then let's peel ourselves back for child's pose. And then coming up onto our knees. And let's Ustrasana again. So maybe starting here with the hands on the hips, or maybe starting with the arms overhead and then into the front body yawn here. Feeling that strength through the spine as we reach up and over. So you could hold here. That might be the hardest option actually. Or bringing the hands around onto the hips or the sacrum, or maybe the hands can reach the heels. Breathing here. And then we'll come up, big lift through the top of the head. We'll bring the arms down and we're still here on the knees. Let's put our hands on hips. We're going to do Paragus, the gate pose. So in theory, we're right here at the back of the mat. I'm just going to turn sideways. If you need to readjust for your space, you can. I'm also going to go back to being the mirror as we take our right leg out to the side. And make sure that heel is not behind the line of the hip, a little bit in front of the line of where your knee is, so you can have that level pelvis like we had on the floor. Thinking of that again. And now we have our straight leg there to work with. And then bringing the arms out to the side, parallel to the floor. Long through the top of the head, standing right up on top of that left leg as we side bend to the right. Inhale and exhale, making it a very open and lifted side bend. Paragus, the gate pose. And then a big lift through the top of the head, coming back up, all the way back up on top of that left leg. And then once more over to the right, very lifted and open. And then we're going to slowly pull down, kind of like doing the Janu Shirsasanas. Big inhale and exhale, breathing slowly down, reaching with that left arm. And then we turn to face the leg, maybe hands are on the leg, on the floor, one on each side, or both hands in the center, inside your right leg, I mean. And then coming over, looking for a good spot here for yourself. And then kind of crawling your way around, bring the left leg, right leg back in. And let's take and expand up and downward facing dog. Feeling your grateful left knee reach up off the floor there. And you can hold this dog or maybe taking it through the vinyasa. And then bending the knees, coming down onto the floor again and standing on your knees. And then we'll Paragasana on the other side. Standing in our short Tadasana moment, then hands on hips as we take that left leg out to a slightly diagonal side. We want that level hips there. And even in the best of circumstances, our heel should be a little bit in front of that, where that right knee is. Not flat side, not behind us. Lifting up in the abdominal muscles, tailbone down, wide and flat, reaching out with the arms. And then Paragasana up and over to the left. Stay nice and lifted and open. And come back up, right up on top of that right leg for a moment. And then up and over once again to the left. And then we'll slowly turn down to face the leg. Big inhale, pull that right shoulder a little more open, and exhale, reaching down. And then so whatever works for you. Maybe you've got both hands on the leg, inside the leg, one on each side, and pouring over, maybe even a little sinking down this. And then kind of coming up, crawling around, retrieving that left leg. And this time we're coming back up onto our knees though, for one more Ustrasana. Breathing the arms up, or however you're going to approach this Ustrasana camel pose. And then up and over. And then coming back up. And contracting back into child's pose, maybe a little mini cat and cow along the way. Breathing into the back of the body, using your breath to ease out the back, smooth things out. All right, let's head for the pigeon pose. So if you want to have a block for your pigeon, I'll have you that there. And downward facing dog. So we're going to do some hover planks on our way into the pigeon. And if you want to do it through the vinyasa here as well, you can. So remember you can always get to the pigeon sooner rather than later as we lift that right leg up. And then hover plank, knee center, inhale and exhale. Pause there a moment, and then swoop the right leg back up. To the right elbow. Pause and lift. To the left elbow. And up. Once more, center. And lift. And then knee to the right elbow to the pigeon. Cobra action, inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And coming up. And we're going to reach through our left leg, turning to the side, so I'm not the mirror at the moment. With our right leg bent, left leg straight, the Janu Shirsasana position. And then twisting to the left toward our back leg, our straight leg, reaching out with that right arm, feeling a little twisting to the leftness. And then bringing that left hand to meet the right. And over that left leg, Janu Shirsasana with a little pulling back in that right hip, reaching the sitting bone to the floor, reaching out through the right. And coming up. And we'll just sort of bring those legs in, turning back around to the front of the mat, coming up in downward facing dog with a vinyasa if you want, and we'll go around on the left. All right, here we are, downward facing dog. Let's lift our left leg up. And then hover plank knee center. Pause a moment there. And then swooping that left leg back up. And then to the left elbow. Suspend and lift. And then to the right elbow. And lift. And then once more center. And lift. And then to the left elbow to the pigeon. And taking a few breaths in the cobra action. And then coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And coming up. And then we'll reach through that right leg, turning to the side, to the half dragonfly. Left leg bent, right leg straight. And we'll twist to the right, toward the back of the mat, toward the straight leg. And then reaching with that left hand to start. Sliding out along the right leg, a little twisting to the rightness. And then bringing that right hand to meet the left, coming forward over the right. as so often happens, we're out of time on the clock. So if you have more time and you want coming down into Shavasana, or else we will just come to a comfortable sitting position. Inhale and exhale, maybe closing your eyes for a moment. Smoothing everything out with that breath. Namaste. Thank you for coming. So let me stop the recording